Your brain is lying to you. Not about everything and not on purpose, but if you're someone who deals with anxiety, your brain has developed a very specific set of habits that sound like truth, feel like truth, and shape your entire day, but aren't actually true. Anxiety doesn't lie loudly. It lies quietly, in a voice that sounds exactly like yours. I'm a clinical psychologist, and one of the first things I do with anxious clients is help them recognize the lies. Not the big dramatic lies, the quiet ones. The ones that feel so normal you've never even thought to question them. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 of the most common ones, the 5 thoughts that anxious brains run on repeat. And for each one, I'm going to give you the exact response to use. Let's start with the biggest one. The 2 a.m. spiral. This is the knot in your chest that shows up before you even know what you're afraid of. This is the engine of anxiety. The thought that something bad is about to happen or is probably going to happen. You don't know exactly what, you just feel it. Maybe it's about a meeting tomorrow. Maybe it's about your health. Maybe it's a vague dread about the future that you can't even attach to a specific thing. But the feeling is so strong that it feels like a prediction, not a thought. In psychology, this is called fortune telling. It's a type of cognitive distortion where your brain treats a fear as a forecast. And it's incredibly common in anxiety because of how the anxious brain is wired. This is why it feels so real. Your brain is not giving you information about the future, it's giving you information about your current emotional state. You're not predicting danger, you're feeling fear. And your brain would rather invent a threat than sit with uncertainty. The response is to separate feeling from the forecast. So here's how you respond. When you catch yourself thinking something bad is going to happen, try this. Pause and ask yourself one question. Is this a prediction or a feeling? 9 times out of 10, it's a feeling. You feel anxious and your brain is doing what it's designed to do, scanning for a reason. But the feeling came first. The prediction is just your brain's explanation for the feeling. When you label it as a feeling instead of a fact, you interrupt that cycle. You're essentially telling your brain, I hear the alarm, but there's no actual fire. And that gives your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, a chance to step in and evaluate what's actually happening. You can also try a track record check. Ask yourself, how many times have I predicted something bad was going to happen and it actually did? Most people, when they honestly look back, realize that their prediction accuracy is terrible. Anxiety is loud, but it's a bad fortune teller. Underestimating your coping ability. Here's the most unfair part of anxiety. It attacks the people who are already carrying the most. The guilt that you're struggling with something other people seem to manage without effort. This lie is sneaky because it doesn't feel like a lie. It feels like self-awareness. I can't deal with this. This is too much. If that happens, I won't be able to cope. But here's what I've noticed in over a decade of clinical work. The people who say, I can't handle this, are almost always people who are currently handling incredibly difficult things. They're working, they're parenting, they're showing up every day in situations that genuinely are stressful. And they're doing it while carrying a massive amount of anxiety on top of everything else. The lie isn't that it's hard, it is hard. The lie is the word can't. This is a technique from CBT called examining the evidence. And it works because anxiety lives in the abstract. It deals in what ifs and I can'ts. But the moment you force yourself to look at concrete examples from your own history, you're pulling the conversation out of your amygdala and into your prefrontal cortex. You're replacing a feeling-based conclusion with a fact-based one, and your brain can't hold both at the same intensity. I actually ask people to keep what I call a coping resume, a running list of hard things they've survived, not to minimize what they're going through, but to remind them of a truth that anxiety conveniently forgets. You have a track record of getting through hard things. The lie, mind reading, the post-conversation replay, the sentence you said 3 hours ago that you're still editing in your head, the certainty that everyone noticed. Have you ever left a conversation and immediately started rehearsing what you should have said differently, only to find out they hadn't thought about it at all? That's not social awareness. That's anxiety wearing the mask of perception. This lie is the fuel behind social anxiety, performance anxiety, imposter syndrome, and that awful feeling when you replay a conversation 10 times trying to figure out what the other person really meant. In CBT, this is called mind reading, the assumption that you know what other people are thinking about you and that what they're thinking is negative. And here's the thing about mind reading. It feels like social intelligence. It feels like you're being perceptive, like you're reading the room, but you're not reading. You're projecting. You're taking your own insecurity and putting it in someone else's head, and then reacting to it as if they actually said it. This is not perception. This is filtration. Your brain is running a search for evidence that confirms your worst fear, and it's ignoring everything that doesn't fit. So here's the response. Next time you catch yourself assuming you know what someone is thinking, try the reverse test. Ask yourself, do I spend my day analyzing other people's minor mistakes? Do I replay the moment someone stuttered in a meeting? Do I go home and think about that one awkward thing my coworker said? The honest answer for most people is no. You're too busy thinking about yourself, and so is everyone else. That's not cynical. It's actually reassuring. Most people are not thinking about you nearly as much as your anxiety says they are. There's a wonderful line someone shared with me. You'd worry a lot less about what other people think of you if you realized how rarely they do. That's not dismissive, it's freedom. The lie. Emotional reasoning. The physical tension in your chest before a flight that makes you Google the crash statistics. The wave of inadequacy that makes you delete the job application. Here's where this gets dangerous. This might be the most powerful lie on this list because it's invisible. You don't even realize you're doing it. Emotional reasoning is when you use your feelings as evidence for a conclusion. I feel anxious about this flight, therefore, the flight is dangerous. I feel like a failure, therefore, I am a failure. I feel like something is wrong, so something must be wrong. Before I explain why this happens, let me give you the response. When you notice yourself making a decision based on how you feel, pause and say this: I feel this emotion. And that is separate from what is actually true. So it becomes, I feel anxious about this presentation, and that is separate from whether I'm actually prepared. Now, here's why this works. The feeling is real. I want to be very clear about that. I'm not telling you your feelings don't matter or that you should ignore them. What I'm telling you is that feelings are data about your internal state, not data about external reality. Think about it this way. You can feel terrified on a roller coaster. That doesn't mean the roller coaster is dangerous. The feeling is real. The conclusion your brain draws from it is not. These are habits of an overprotective brain. It's why someone avoids a difficult conversation or doesn't apply for a job or cancels plans at the last minute. The feeling says danger, and they treat that feeling like a fact. This is one of those techniques that sounds simple when you hear it and then completely changes things when you practice it consistently. Give it a week. Every time you catch yourself reasoning from a feeling, just add, and that is separate from what's true. The lie. Worry as protection. It's 1:47 a.m. You have a presentation in 8 hours. You've rehearsed it in your head 4 times. You're not preparing anymore, you're just suffering in advance. The feeling that if you stop scanning, something will slip through. This one is subtle. This is the lie that protects all the other lies, and it's the reason many people resist letting go of their anxiety even when they know it's hurting them. Somewhere along the way, your brain made an association. If I worry about something, I'm prepared for it. If I stop worrying, I'll be caught off guard. Some people can even point to a time when they worried about something and it did happen, and they say, see, the worry helped. Let me ask you something. Did the worrying actually change the outcome, or did you just suffer twice? Once in your head beforehand and once when it happened. Worrying gives you the illusion of preparing while stealing your sleep, your presence, and your peace. But preparation is making a plan and then acting on it. Worry is making a plan, then making another plan for the plan, then imagining everything that could go wrong with both plans, and then lying awake at 2 a.m., rehearsing a conversation you haven't even had yet. Worry is not problem solving. It's problem rehearsing. And the more you rehearse the problem, the more your brain treats it as real and present, which generates more anxiety, which generates more worry. It's a loop that feeds itself. The response? The productive versus unproductive test. When you catch yourself worrying, ask one question. Is there an action I can take right now? And if the answer is yes, take it. Send the email, make the call, write the first step of the plan. Do one concrete thing and then move on. And if the answer is no, and it's often no, because most worry is about things that either haven't happened yet or are outside your control, then what you're doing isn't planning. It's ruminating. And rumination is not a strategy, it's a trap. One more thing. If you find yourself worrying about the same thing repeatedly, that's a clue. Productive thinking moves forward. Unproductive worry goes in circles. If you've been around the loop 3 times and nothing has changed, that's your signal to put it down. Now, I want to step back for a second and talk about something important. I've been calling these lies, and that's a useful frame for recognizing them. But I don't want you walking away from this video thinking your brain is the enemy. Your brain is not lying to you out of malice. It's lying to you because it's trying to protect you. Every single one of these patterns, fortune telling, catastrophizing, mind reading, emotional reasoning, worry as protection, evolved because they helped our ancestors survive a dangerous world. These are habits of an overprotective brain. The problem is that the world has changed, but the alarm system hasn't. You're running modern social problems through an ancient threat detector. And the result is a brain that's constantly scanning for danger in a world where most of the danger is imagined. So this isn't about silencing your brain. It's about updating the relationship. It's about learning to hear the alarm, acknowledging it, and then deciding whether the threat is real, instead of automatically obeying it. That's what these responses are for. They're not about making anxiety disappear. They're about changing your relationship to it so it stops running the show. You don't need a quieter brain. You need a wiser relationship with it. If these 5 lies sound like the running soundtrack of your life, if they're not occasional visitors, but permanent residents, it might be worth talking to a professional. Cognitive behavioral therapy is effective for anxiety. It's about learning specific skills to change how your brain processes threat. The techniques I've shared today are a starting point, but a therapist can help you apply them to your specific patterns at a deeper level with accountability and support. That's not weakness, that's strategy. All right, here's my challenge. I covered 5 lies today. You don't need to tackle all 5. I want you to pick the one that hit the hardest, the one where you thought, that's me, and practice just that one response for a week. If it was fortune telling, ask, is this a prediction or a feeling? If it was, I can't handle this, pull out your coping resume. If it was mind reading, try the reverse test. If it was emotional reasoning, practice, I feel this emotion and that is separate from what's true. If it was worry as protection, ask, is there an action I can take right now? And drop a comment and tell me which one you picked. I read all of them and I'll respond. And if this helped, you're going to want to watch this video where I break down the most important skill that every anxious person needs to learn.